I'm Renee.
And I'm Anthony, and we are the voices, healers, and channelers behind Blue Soul Earth. We connect to higher levels of consciousness to bring forth divine energies, to heal and to teach ancient wisdom.
These energies that we access from higher dimensions largely consist of the ascended masters that humanity across cultures knows really well. They are many, but they speak collectively as one voice. And for simplicity's sake, we call them our spirit team.
How we channel as a couple is very unique. The energies we channel come down through Renee's crown chakra, through her solar plexus, into my solar plexus, and then back up through my crown chakra, and it forms a three-dimensional triangle. That's used to heal and to teach.
These energies flow through us a bit like an infinity 8. The symbolism behind why and how this happens is actually pretty profound.
It's actually accessing divine feminine and divine masculine energies, weaving them together to form one energy to heal and to teach.
We will be channeling different topics in roughly 10 to 15 minute segments that will be part of our Blue Soul Wisdom series.
So if you're just starting out on your spiritual journey,
or if you'd like to access higher levels of consciousness,
or you'd like to take your healing practice to the next level,
then join us.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Anthony.
And I'm Renee. And we are here to talk about the soul and the soul's journey. The life for the soul that we planned at a soul level before we incarnated in this body. There's pre-birth planning, there's in-between lives planning, and beyond. In a minute, we're going to bring forth our guides to chat about the soul, the soul's journey, and what actually happens in these other dimensions in between incarnations.
Let's bring them forth and see what they have to say.
Okay. Anthony is connecting to our guides now, and they will be forth momentarily. I thought I would read just a little bit from your soul's plan, Discovering the Real Meaning of the Life You Planned Before You Were Born, Robert Schwartz. We've actually worked with him directly and we love his work. And so I thought I would read just a little bit on why we incarnate and get your feedback. So he writes, the planning we do before birth is far-reaching and detailed. It goes well beyond the selection of life challenges. We choose our parents, and they choose us. When and where we will incarnate, the schools we will attend, the homes that we live in, the people we meet, and the relationships that we will have. If you ever felt you already knew someone you just met, it well may be true. That person was probably part of a pre-birth planning when a place, time, image, or phrase seems oddly familiar the first time you see or hear it. That is usually because that vague remembrance is part of the soul's journey. Such practices help us recognize one another on the physical plane.
That is correct. However, it's not as easy as that. It is true that your soul, before it incarnates on this particular realm, has a lot of planning to do. Intricacies. But what goes beyond that, as we've told you, is the quanta, or the quantum field. That is to say, there are multiple probabilities that can exist.
So even before the quantum piece is taken into perspective, let's talk about just the process of, at a soul level, what happens when we decide to incarnate in a particular body and why. Obviously, it's for a particular experience. But can you talk to us about how our soul works with guides and how it determines what it's going to incarnate and why.
What it's going to incarnate
As and why.
and why. We know what you mean. We know what they're looking for as well. They want to know why they are who they are, what they are. They want the proverbial keys to the universe.
Well, we can use examples. So we can
Yes.
use examples of why we may have chosen a particular body at a particular time and what it may wish to learn in this particular dimension.
Okay. First, we will tell you this. When you incarnate or reincarnate again and again and again and again, sometimes it is only for the purposes of getting a new experience and doing it just a little bit differently. Sometimes you may reincarnate 100 times until you get it right. An experience that the soul is looking for so that it may give it to consciousness and so that it may become conscious of it itself. Now, as your soul reincarnates here on this realm and is trying to get it correct, it is also doing it in other realms as well.
The exact same thing or something just a little different?
Just a bit different. A turn of the knob, a frequency shift. What your soul is experiencing in a different realm sometimes touches each other. Therein lies your perception of a déjà vu. You think you know this person, but you don't know how. Well, we'll tell you how you know this person is because you're having a very similar experience in a different realm. We've told you what your soul does here touches the soul or your soul somewhere else. That is to say, your frequencies vibrate.
But what about when you're saying that you're having an experience with somebody else and it's similar in the other dimensions or the other realms? Does that mean that person is also incarnating with you in several different dimensions, but the tweak is also?
That is correct.
That is interesting. So that would suggest...
That is the quantum aspect of it.
So that would also suggest that a lot of the souls incarnate over and over and over and over and over again. Hence the soul's family.
Of course. In a sense, yes, they do. But they're all having the same experience in different ways. You see, it's not supposed to make sense. You're only supposed to have the experience. So your family that you have here now on this earth plane may not even exist in another one. Your experience with them could be completely different, just like the experience you're having now with Anthony. What your experience you're having with him now could be completely different than what you're having with him somewhere else. It may not even exist. You too may have gone your separate ways. One of you may have even passed away by now. You see, your experiences are different for each experience, for each realm, for each reality.
Can you give us an example of something that might be similar? For example, using Anthony and I as an example. Are we in fact having, you say that we are, having another experience together in another dimension? Which life of ours is similar to the one that we're having right now, and how is it different?
Another example of this would be this, that your soul decides to bring a reality to the consciousness of you and Anthony, so that it may experience what it's like to have children together. And so, in another reality, the soul decides to bring consciousness to a realm so that you and Anthony can experience children together. And so it happens.
In this bodily form, in a way.
In a sense, yes, that is correct.
Because we've had children together in past lives in different bodily forms.
Yes. What would it be like to have a family together, a daughter, a son, and raise them in a manner that you see as spiritual, or in a manner that you see is liberal, a manner in which you can teach them the way you want to teach them, so that they can go on and be great spiritual leaders themselves.
So we may not even be aware of the intention, because the intention feels coming from the soul level, certainly not from us in our individual human bodies in this lifetime.
If you want, you can intend it now and bring reality to it. And in that way, within that particular realm, your soul is listening. By intending that you and Anthony wish to have children and raise a family, can be done. You only need to intend it. Do you understand, great soul?
So you intend it from one reality and it affects the other reality.
That is correct. You see, as simple as it is, it's actually very complicated as well. The multiple realities makes it very complicated. That's why sometimes we tell you it appears that you are nothing more than a projection of your own mind. You see, the soul's plan is simple, but it has multiple probabilities to it.
But there are also some probabilities that you want to be stronger than others for a particular reason.
That is true. And we will always tell you this. The probability that you always want to be the strongest is the probability of love. Let love be the greatest frequency and the greatest probability that your soul will learn and acquire, so that it will affect the multiple yous in different realms. And as it affects the multiple yous, it affects the multiple others, other souls as well, that are around you.
So presumably there are other me's and other Anthony's in other realms at this time who are not doing spiritual work.
We would like to say that is true, but it's not. Believe this or not. The other you or yous and the other hims are doing spiritual work in different ways. They have all been highly advanced. Both you and Anthony are highly advanced souls, not only in this realm, but in all of the other ones that you reside in. Do you see?
It's fascinating. But there could be another individual on this earth plane who's doing spiritual work here, or not doing spiritual work here, but doing spiritual work somewhere else.
That is true. There may be another individual that is doing spiritual work on this earth plane, but has yet to experience what it's like not to do spiritual work, or to be completely separate from universal consciousness. It is fascinating, isn't it? That's why we tell you there is no beginning and there is no end, and that you, all of you, are one with the goddess, one with God, one with universal consciousness. And the experience that your soul's plan has here will give back to the multiple yous and universal consciousness.
And how do we access those other yous? How do we access the information and the data to assist each other in all of these different realms?
No, we don't know.
I like the wink.
That is a talk for another time.
It is indeed. We could do a whole talk around that, and
How
we shall.
to connect with your
Other yous.
other yous and your spirit guides
Yes.
to help you connect with your other yous. And with that, we will leave now.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming through.
Thank you for having us, Gaia.
So we're curious what you think about your own soul's journey. Have you thought about your life at a soul level? Have you thought about the idea of what you may have decided you wanted to experience in this lifetime? Have you thought about the idea that you may have chosen a particular experience in a particular realm here and now?
I know I have. And with that, thank you.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye now.